Samsaradava nalalida loka Chanaya karunaganaganatvam Paptasya kalyanagunaravasya Pande kuroshi charanaravindam Pande kuroshi charanaravindam Pande kuroshi charanaravindam Amsaradava nalalida loka Chanaya karunaganaganatvam Paptasya kalyanagunaravasya Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Paricha Madhyam Manasura Sena Mahaprabhu Romanchakampa Sutaranga Bhajo Vande Guroshi Charanaravindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Shri Vigrahara Tadanichanana Shingarapan Mandira Marginado Yuktasya Bhaktam Shani Unjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Chaturvidhashi Bhagavat Prasado Swadvana Chipnan Hari Bhakta Sangam Kirtaiva Chiptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Vande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Radhika Madhavayurapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupananam Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Bande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Nikunjayuno Ratikelisida Jaya Nibiyatira Bhikshanina Nikunja Tatrati Dakshad Atipallabhasya Bande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Shakshadhari Tven Samasta Sastri Yuktastatta Bhavyate Sadvi Shakshadhari Kinto Prabhuya Priyaiva Tasya Vande Gururshi Sharanaravinda Vande Gururshi Sharanaravinda Vande Gururshi Sharanaravinda Yasha Prasada Bhagavad Prasado Yasha Prasadana Nakatikatopi Yasha Prasada Dayam stutvam stasya yasasti sandam Vande Gururshi Charanaravinda Vande Gururshi Charanarvindam Vande Gururshi Charanaravinda Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavindam Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nita Gora Hari, Nita Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gora Hari Bol, Nita Gora Hari Bol, Nita Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gora Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, 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 Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Bolo Bolo, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, 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 Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaur Haribol, Haribol, Gaur Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol, Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol, Nitai Gaur Premanandi ki jai, Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Haribol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajika Chasta Tarasatarashi Shishimari's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Arantakoti Vaishnava Vinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Kahoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapura Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Shingadev Chaturdasi Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavana Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi.
Prahlada Dadaine Prahlada Dadaine Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha Ashilatan Kanakalaye
Shilatam Kanakalaye
Ashilatan Kanakalaye
Shilatam Kanakalaye
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha
Nishinga Parato Nishinga
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha
Nishinga Parato Nishinga
Ayato यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा
Yata yami tato nrsimha.
ॐ यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा
Yata yami tato nrsimha.
बोहि नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा
Nrsimha hridaye nrsimha.
बहे नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा
Nrsimha hridaye nrsimha.
ओ नरसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपदे
Namadin saranam prabhadaya.
ओ नरसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपदे
Namadin saranam prabhadaya.
तब कर कमल भरे नाका अद्भुत सिंह दलित लिरण्यकशिपु तनु भृंग केशवधृत नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
Prabhakara kamala bare nakam adhuta singham dalita hiranyakashipu tanubhingam keshavadita narari rupa jai jagadesha hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare
जय केशवधृत नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
Jaya Narasinghadev, Jaya Narasinghadev, Jaya Narasinghadev, Jaya Narasinghadev, Jaya Narasinghadev.
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय भक्त प्रहलाद
Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj.
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद
Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Haribol. Vrindaye Tusideva Priyaye Keshavaisya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tusideva Priyaye Keshavaisya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tusideva Priyaye Keshavaisya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavratai Namo Namaha. Vrindavan Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai.
Namo Namo Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo Tulasi
Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha.
Radha Krishna Shiva Pavo Eyo Vilasi
Radha Krishna
Shiva Pavo Eyo Vilasi Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha.
Jai Tomara Sharanaloi Tara Vancha Purnao
Tumhara Saranalaya Tamamanta Purna Hoy.
Kripa Kori Karatare Vrindavana Vasi
Akori Karatare Vrindavana Vasi.
Tumi Kripa Kori Karatare Vrindavana Vasi Namo Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha.
Morae Yo Vilas Vilas Kunje Dioba
Vilas Kunje Dioba.
Nayane Heribo Shada Jogaloru Parasi
Yaneri Basada Yugalaru Padasi.
Eni Vedanadaro Sakirayanu Gatakoro Sevayadi Koradiye Oranija Dasi Krishna Krishna das koi hey enamorado Krishna Krishna das koi hey enamorado Shri Radha Govinda Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sadayena Vasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo. Yani Kani Shabapani Brahmatari Kani Shah Tani Tani Prana Shanti Pradakshina Pade Pade. Kanisha Papani Brahmatari Kanisha Tani Tani Prana Santi Pradakshina Pade Pade.
Kanisha Papani Brahmatari Kanisha Tani Tani Prana Santi Pradakshina Pade Pade.
Yani Kanisha Papani Brahmatari Kanisha Tani Tani Prana Santi Pradakshina Pade Pade.
Yani Kanisha Papani Brahmatari Kanisha Tani Tani Prana Santi Pradakshina Pade Pade.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo,
Haribo, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavaya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyaratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavaya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyaratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsidevai Priyaye Keshavaya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyaratai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarini. O Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestowing your mercy upon him, you make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also grant me a residence in pleasant groves of Sri Vrindavanadam. Thus, within my vision, I always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Raja. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love of Shri Shri Radha and Govinda. Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Jai. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Chetu Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadevagni Nirvapanam Sherakailavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vaduhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipradam Pranam Ritasvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudani Sarva Saktis Tatra Pita Niyamitak Smaranina Kala Etadrisi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Samihajani Nuraga Trinada Pisuni Chena Tarura Pisa Istana Manina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaituki Twai Ai Nandata Nuchakinkaram Patitam Mam Visame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Tava Padapankaja Stitat Vidusarasam else you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I fall into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs in my body stand on end at the recitation of your holy name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting the holy names of the Lord that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their lives to propagating holy names of the Lord. 2. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination. 6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities of karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpa tarabhyascha, kripa sindhubhyebhya, patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya. So there are 5 prayers that glorify Lord Narasingha Deva that were composed by Bhakti Vinod Thakura. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakura has written these 5 beautiful prayers in Shri Navadipa Bhava Taranga for receiving the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So today is a day we want to receive the mercy of Lord Narasingha. We want to receive the mercy of Lord Narasingha. These prayers are certainly an assurance to all sincere devotees that the worship of Lord Narasimha is purely in the line of aspiring for love and devotion to Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. The 5 prayers are as follows, so we can repeat together. E dusta hirdaya Kama Adi Ripuchaya Kutinati Pratistasa Satya Sadaraya Hirdaya Sodana Ara Krishnera Vasana Nishinga Charane Mora Eito Kamana. And repeat after me. Within my sinful heart, The 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as duplicity, the desire for fame, plus sheer cunning. At the lotus feet of Lord Narasingha, I hope that he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. Kandiya Nishingha Pade Majibo Kakana Nirapade Navadvipe Jugala Bhajana Baya Baya Paya Yanra Darsane Se Hari Prasana Hoibo Kabe More Daya Kari. Weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Lord Narasingha for the benediction of worshipping Radha and Krishna in Navadvipa, perfectly safe and free from all difficulties. When will this Lord Hari, whose terrible form strikes fear, into fear itself, ever become pleased and show me his mercy? Yadyapi bhishana murti tusta jiva prati Praladadi Krishna Bhakta Jane Badra Ati Kabeva Prasana Hoyesa Kripovachana Nirbhaya Karibe E Muda Akinchane. Even though Lord Nrsimhadev is terrifying toward the sinful souls, he offers great auspiciousness unto the devotees of Lord Krishna, headed by Prahlada Maharaja. When will he be pleased to speak words of compassion unto me, a worthless fool, and thereby make me fearless? Swachande baisohe vatsasi goranga dame Jugala bhajana ho rati ho namne Mama bhakta kripa bale vigna jabe dura Sudha chitte bhajor Radha Krishna Rasa Pura. He will say, dear child, sit down freely and live happily here in Sri Gauranga Dhamma. May you nicely worship the divine couple, and may you develop loving attachment for their holy names. By the mercy of my devotees, all obstacles are cast far away. With a purified heart, just perform the worship of Radha and Krishna. For such worship overflows with sweet nectar. E bolikabe mora mastaka upara. Sriyasi charana harse daribe ishwara. Amani jugala preme satvika vikare. Daraya lutibo ami shi nishinga dware. Saying this, will that Lord delightedly place his own divine lotus feet upon my head? for the divine couple, Radha Krishna, and undergo the ecstatic transformations called sattvika. Falling on the ground, I will roll about at the door of Sri Narasingha's temple. Haribol, Haribol, Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. So, today is very special because Prabhupada taught the Nrsinga prayer, especially after the devotees had been attacked by a group of thugs in New Vrindavan. And they had guns and things like that. And Prabhupada was, everyone was shocked by it. And at that time he gave this prayer for the protection of ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and of course, devotees. So we have been chanting that all the time, and we actually do need the protection of Lord Nrsingadev, because this is a very dangerous world, and there are all kinds of bad influences everywhere, and it's up to us to understand that we depend completely on the mercy of Krishna. And when we sincerely believe that and pray to the Lord with that feeling in our heart, and especially if we engage regularly in devotional service and also regularly hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by genuine devotees, and also going out on Sankirtan, and also preaching, then Krishna says, this devotee is seriously interested in me. So now I'm going to get seriously interested in he or she. See? So if you want to get Krishna on your side, protecting you always, and getting always the ashraya, or the refuge and safety of Krishna's protection, then take a real interest in coming every day to class and hearing about the unique qualities of Krishna and the special dispensations. That's a big word. It means the special perks that we have in Kali Yuga that makes it easy for us to go back to Godhead if we take advantage of them. I'll explain what they are in a second. And that going back to Godhead is made very easy in this age by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He gave a simple process. Anybody can do it. It doesn't require any high quality education or anything like that. It just requires sincerity and following instructions of bona fide acharyas. And we have many bona fide acharyas in our disciplic succession, and especially Srila Prabhupada, the most prominent for us acharya, because we are reading his books, we're following the standards that he has established, and he's simply following what the previous acharyas have done. He hasn't manufactured anything or any deviation. So, how to get Lord Nrsingadev's mercy and how to be protected personally by Krishna. This is a very wonderful subject, and it's all based on hearing and chanting on a regular basis every day. Hearing and chanting the transcendental vibration of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. We don't realize how powerful this mantra is. It has come down by Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Lord Nityananda's mercy from the spiritual world. It's not a material mantra. There are plenty of material mantras, but this mantra is special. And you are associating directly with Radha and Krishna when you chant it. The other day I gave a lecture for a group of people in Atlanta, and after the lecture there was only one question. One man said, well, you explained what you can attain by worshiping Krishna. He said, how about Lord Rama? Can you attain the same things by chanting the name of Lord Rama? I said, we're chanting the names of Lord Rama. The mantra that we chant every day is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We chant Rama's name as many times as we chant Krishna's name because they're non-different. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect that. He thought I was going to fumble around and say, well, we don't really worship Rama as the same as Krishna. No, we worship on an equal level with Krishna because he's direct expansion of Krishna. So you see that he was a typical Hindu that thinks, oh, Hare Krishnas, they don't really like Lord Rama, or they don't really give any importance to Lord Rama. That's nonsense, you see. So we have to be ready to answer these questions. And everyone was surprised when right away I said, yeah, we are worshiping Lord Rama every day equally with Lord Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So to be able to answer questions on the spur of the moment, we have to definitely come to class regularly. Otherwise, we won't know anything. We'll just fumble around, And that's not what people want. People want to meet someone who knows something, who has direct answers and solutions to the problems of life. So if we don't know anything, how can we help somebody else? And just like you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school 32 to 36 years to become a doctor, especially a specialist like a brain surgeon or something like that. So you want to become a person who can save another person's life, you better come to class every day and learn. Just like you want to become a doctor, you have to go to school 36 years to become a specialist. It's not 12 years or 16 years or 24 years. It's 36 years to become a highly trained specialist. And to become a highly trained devotee, it takes the whole lifetime. And the earlier you start, the better it is. So today I want to discuss a lecture that Prabhupada gave. And it has so many wonderful points in it. And it's good to hear this on the Shringa Chaturdasi festival day. And it's all about the first canto, second chapter, 21st verse. Right? Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samsaya shiyante cha shikarmani drista evat manishware. Thus the knots of the heart, knots, not N-O-T, but K-N-O-T. You know the difference between N-O-T and K-N-O-T? K-N-O-T means something that ties really tight. It says, thus the knots of the heart, certain things tie in our heart. They're very tight and almost impossible to get rid of. Thus the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions, karma, is terminated when one sees the self as master. And the self has a small s, that means you and me. If it has a big S, it means Krishna. So it says, when one sees the self as master. Now, Prabhupada is going to explain this, and this is a tremendous, in many ways, shocking explanation of this verse. So Prabhupada says, Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samsaya shiyante cha shikarmani drista evat manishware. This is complete liberated stage. This one verse is complete liberated stage, he says. In the previous verse, it has been spoken, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sanghasya Jayate. The science of God, Bhagavat Tattva, the science of the absolute truth becomes manifest to the liberated soul. So, there is a science of Krishna. It's a much higher science than the junk science they teach you in school today. The much higher science, because it's the science of how you can attain immortality. You're already immortal, but we're so dumbed down we don't believe it. And we're dumbed down by modern education. Modern education does three things to make sure we don't become Krishna conscious. And they're specific about it, about not letting you become Krishna conscious. Point 1, there's no God. Point 2, when you die, there's nothing. Point 3, the goal of life is sense gratification. Point 4, to get sense gratification, you need to make money. And point 6, everything is relative. There are no absolutes. That's enough to make you an atheist the rest of your life. And that's what they teach in a very subtle way in these schools. Point 1, there's no God. Okay, you can be religious if you want, but it's just a story. The Jews have their story. The Muslims have their story. The Christians have their story. The Jains have their story. The Sikhs have their story. The Buddhists have their story. They're just stories. But we're here to teach you science. Big Bang, we come from monkeys, gender neutrality, and so forth. And none of those things are science. They're all speculations. But they teach it as if it's science. Say, critical race theory, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is racism. They're saying that this one race has more speciality to it and more importance than any other race. That's exactly what Hitler did. He said there's one race that's important. It's the Teutonic German race that's the most important. And any other races, if we deem them not important, we'll kill them. And that's exactly what they did. They started killing these other races that they thought were not actually up to the level of being human beings. So we see, we're not being taught knowledge in these schools today. We're being taught propaganda. And it's a propaganda so you do not become Krishna conscious. That's the propaganda. So, Prabhupada says, the science of God, Bhagavad Tattva, the science of the absolute truth becomes manifest to the liberated soul. We find sometimes that one man is posing to have very much advanced in spiritual understanding or a great devotee, but Mukta Sangha, he's not Mukta Sangha, he's not a liberated person. He cannot give up smoking bidi. You see? These are the small tests. Meaning, you can tell who is really Mukta Sangha, a liberated person, who's not. Like, for example, one devotee went to Dallas, Texas, with his son to take part in a robotics contest. It's a national contest. So kids from all over the country came. There must have been, 3,000, 5,000 kids there. And he took his kid there. And he went with 2 other Hindu families with their children, right? So when they get there, they're handing out things in the competition area, because people get hungry, right? So they're handing out different things. Most of the things that devotees couldn't eat because it was all contaminated stuff, but they handed out some candy. And they handed it to this devotee's son. And the boy looked at the ingredients before he ate it, right? And he saw gelatin in it, right? He wanted to eat it, but then he saw it has gelatin. So he said, I can't eat this. And the father of the Hindu gentleman who came with them, with his kids, he said, don't think about that. Just eat it. Just eat it. If you're hungry, you just eat it. This is Hinduism today. You see? The boy has been trained here to look at the ingredients, and the father of his best friend is telling him, don't worry about that. You just eat it. You're hungry. You need to eat something. This is the nonsense that's going on today. Right? And unless we wake up and understand things, we'll be part of that nonsense. So then it says, these are the small tests that can tell you if someone is mukta sangha, a liberated soul, or not liberated. One who has actually tasted spiritual life, his or her unwanted things of life would at once diminish. There's no need. Anartha nivriti syat. Anartha, things which are not wanted, which have no meaning, no spiritual meaning. So mukta sangha, a liberated person, means no material attachment. That is mukta sangha. When one is actually liberated, these are the signs. No material attachments. Vidyate hridaya grantis. It means that this hard knot in the heart is cut. And all the hard knots. Our material life begins by a knot in the heart. What is that knot? That is sex. Sex desire. This is the knot. A man is hankering after a woman, and a woman is hankering after a man. This attachment is the beginning of material life. Everyone, not only human society, in animal society, in bird society, in beast society, you'll find this sex attachment. This is the hridaya granthi. This is the knot, the very tight knot in the heart of all living entities. This is why people come to the material world. They didn't come here to eat meat, smoke marijuana, or philander. They came, yes, they did come for philandering, but smoke marijuana or speculate and gamble. They came here for sense gratification. That's the purpose. As soon as there's sense gratification, the other things follow. The intoxication, the meat eating, and the gambling. So, one who has actually tasted spiritual life, his unwanted things of life would at once diminish. There is no need. Anartha nivriti syat. Anartha, things which are not wanted, which have no meaning. So mukta sangha means no material attachment. That is mukta sangha. When one is actually liberated, these are the signs. While our material life begins by the knot in the heart. What is that knot? That is sex, desire. This is the knot. A man is hankering after a woman is hankering after a man. This attachment is the beginning of material life. Everyone, not only human society, in animal society, in bird society, in beast society, you'll find this sex attachment. This is the hridaya granthi, beginning. Therefore, according to Vedic civilization, the first teaching to a student is to give him or her lesson how to become brahmachari or brahmacharini, how not to become attached to this sense gratification that is called brahmachari. Tapasya brahmacharyena, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13. Tapasa, to become brahmachari, to abstain from sex life. It requires tapasya. It is not so easy. Tapasya brahmacharyena, damena samena cha. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.13. One has to practice how to control the mind, how to control the senses. This is brahmacharya, tapasya. It requires tapasya, voluntary denial of sense gratification. It is not so easy thing. Tapasya brahmacharyena. One has to practice how to control the mind, how to control the senses. Tapasya. It requires tapasya. At the present moment, the students are, what to speak of tapasya, they are given all kinds of luxuries. So how there will be brahmacharis? It is not possible, especially in the Western countries. The boys and girls, they are educated in one place, co-education, and they live in the same building, and there are so many things you know better than me. You agree to that? Yeah. Everything is planned now to not let you become Krishna conscious. This is the plan of material education. This is the plan of the demons. Not just Hare Krishnas, this is everybody. The Muslims, the Jews, the Christians, everybody. They don't want you to believe in God. They want you, why? Because if you don't believe in God, then you'll become a big consumer. You will start buying all kinds of things that are unnecessary for your life. You will take up jobs that are horrible, but you do it because you want the money to buy all those things. And therefore, you live like a donkey for 40 years working to help other people become rich. And you get some money also, but you spend most of that money on nonsense things. And you don't have time for Krishna consciousness. You don't have time to wake up early. You don't have time to come to the class. You don't have time for this or that. You come just a little bit. Or you come like the Christians on Easter and Christmas, right? Or like the Jews on Passover and so forth. Or like the Hindus on Janmashtami and Ram Navami, you see. Or Durga Puja. So this is planned, and it's a very, very elaborate plan. It's called atheistic humanism. You've probably never even heard about that, but that is the plan, how to turn people into vishayis, sense gratifiers. So, Prabhupada says, so there is no brahmachari today. There's no brahmacharya. That means the knot in the heart, the sex desire, is more and more increased. It is not decreased. But if one takes the Krishna consciousness by practice, one can come to the point of giving up all these unwanted things. So I'm going to stop right there. This is a long lecture. If you want to hear this lecture, you come tomorrow morning to the class. This one lecture is enough to purify your heart and put you in the right direction for the rest of your life. But if you don't want that, don't come, because if you don't want it, it's not necessary that you hear it. But this is Prabhupada at his best. This is not me. This is Prabhupada at his best. And one lecture like this is enough to change your life for the rest of your lifetime. Right? So, are there any questions? Yes? You always have questions. That's good. And you have your tablet with you. That's even better. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, I think I want to ask a quick question on the point. The modern education makes one not Krishna consciousness. And I have 2 young children. And then every day now, the plan is to send them to kids every day. So when I hear this knowledge...
The plan is to send them to the slaughterhouse. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when I hear this knowledge, how should I take my path next? Because I'm sending the kids...
You should homeschool your kids.
That's the truth.
You should homeschool them. Then you have control of what they learn. You send them to school, you have no control. You know what they do to these kids now? See, it's gotten much worse now than ever before. This happened just last week. One mother found out that her daughter was secretly put into a special seminar on homosexuality. They didn't even ask her permission. They didn't ask permission of her mother. They secretly took the kid into that, and the kid was only like 8 or 9 years old. This is what's going on in the schools today.
Maharaj, is that a planned agenda, or is it because they don't know the right knowledge?
I'm telling you, it's a plan it's called atheistic humanism. Look it up on the internet. You'll see what it is. This is the pedagogy. This is the system of teaching. Now, they don't want you to become a believer in God, because if you don't believe in God and you don't accept the culture of godly life, you become a consumer. And therefore, you're going to buy all the junk products that they make. Most of the industries are manufacturing things that you don't need. But they have such good PR, propaganda, and publicity that you become convinced, I need that thing. And to get that thing, you need money. So you can make money either illegally or you make it legally. Both ways you have to work really hard, and you don't have time for Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Maharaj. I want to get to the conviction, the depth of the conviction.
You're going to have to take the time to educate your kid. Don't give them to these schools, because they're not going to educate your kid. They're going to de-educate them. They're going to make your kid look at your culture as if it is nonsense, and that the other culture out there is the truth. That's what they're doing.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any other questions? Okay, then we will do the best thing, chant Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today there's Sankirtan, and but we'll be back for the program. It starts at 7 o'clock. So we'll probably leave for Sankirtan a little early today at 3 o'clock. Okay? Let everyone know. So we'll be back at the temple for the program. Hare Krishna. Oh, I have some good news. 10 years ago, we did the Balaji Kalyanam and in Renton, and it was a huge success. Up to 4,000 people came, and it was with the priests from Tirupati, Devastam. So everything was authentic, right? And at that time, when I saw the degree of emotion and love that people had for Balaji, it inspired me. I was very impressed by it because, after the program was over, so many people came up to the altar. They were bowing down, and they were just ecstatic in their appreciation. So I said, on the spur of the moment, I said, I'm going to open a temple for Balaji. And everyone was really, enthused. Now, the same thing is going to happen now. The same priests or the same Devastan, Balaji Devastan people are coming to Seattle. We're sponsoring it, and we're going to hold the whole thing in the Maidenbauer Center. Yesterday, I called the Maidenbauer Center. I was not expecting them to say yes. So when they said, what date do you want? I said, June 19th, and I held my breath. Because they usually say, oh, well, that's already taken. They said, oh, that's still open. Right? And they said, you can do it. And so what kind of program is it? I said, it's a religious program. Again, I held my breath. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we welcome you. And in 5 minutes, they booked us for June 19th at the Maidenbauer Center. What's interesting is, see, how everything gets mixed up. When we send the information to make a poster or put it on the web page of the temple in Northwest Shire, they always make mistakes. So they've put that the Color Festival is June 5th, and the Veg Festival is June 19th. It's on our webpage right now. This is happening all the time. It takes us at least, after they post some information on the webpage, it takes at least 3 weeks to a month to have them change it. And by that time, people have the wrong understanding. So I don't know what's wrong, why they do, whether they do it on purpose or they do it by negligence, but it happens every time. See? So we have to fix that right away. And I know, that's why I'm telling you. We have to fix it right away, right? Because June 18th is the Veg Fest, right? And June 4th is the Color Festival, right? And June 19th is the Balaji Kalyanam, right? So we're going to have, we didn't see this coming. It just happened like it did 10 years ago. It just happened that these people are coming, and they're willing. They came 5 years ago, but they only stayed on the East Coast. They didn't come to the West Coast. This time they came to the West Coast. They're in Los Angeles, and from Los Angeles they're going to come here. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Balaji's planning. It's not our planning. We wouldn't be good enough to plan like this. Well, we got to continue being sincere then, because otherwise we'll fail. Hari Bol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sringadev Bhagavan ki jai.